Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here with some potential big news about not only Mechwarrior 5, but Mechwarrior Online and Piranha games in general. This report right here that you see in front of you is ANAD Global 7, and they are a public company. And for those that don't know, PGI was acquired by ANAD last year, and this is the interim report, and this covers from January of 2021 to September. Now, why is this important? Well, the cool thing with having a public company is you get these reports, and there's also reports to their investors and all of that as far as people. Something of really important note, and I know this came out a while ago and we talked about it when it happened, but let's go ahead and talk about a segment of Piranha because this is why it's relevant here. And I'll go ahead and read this out loud so there's no mixing of any information. Piranha celebrated the return of Mechwarrior 5 on the PlayStation for the first time in over 20 years. Net revenue and adjusted EBITDA for the quarter came in at SEK 47.6 million and SEK of negative 8.4 million, respectively. Although the community reception was very positive, the overall sales of the PlayStation had low impact, resulting in operating loss for the quarter. Piranha has largely finished its development on Mechwarrior 5 with limited residual effort for future maintenance. In Q4 of 2021, as the team further ramps down on Mechwarrior 5, the plan is to fully utilize Piranha's talented team to staff various key projects for the group, such as Lord of the Rings Online Update. Now, I'm going to go ahead and break down a few things. Obviously, you can do the translation here, but basically this has to do with a loss of money. Now, what can we extrapolate from all this information? Well, the only thing we can really extrapolate is the fact of it lost money for the PlayStation launch and just in general over that quarter. And that's what they sort of said. For the quarter, came in at a net negative. I'm not surprised by this. Obviously, I've done my review of the games and the DLC in the past, but the PlayStation launched with also the DLC. You had Heroes of the Inner Sphere and the Legend of the Kestrel Lancers. Sorry, I had to think about that. And then, of course, it said it was very positive and overall sales on the PlayStation had low impact, resulting in quarter loss. What's also interesting here is that they've talked about Mechwarrior DLCs where they'd like to do like 4 a year in the past. Well, obviously now that's all up in the air, if not questioned. We haven't even got another DLC. They haven't even talked about it. But before jumping to conclusions, I still think they're working on the last DLC. I don't have that in confirmation. They haven't even stated anything, but it does say has largely finished its development, which means it didn't say has finished. It says largely finished its development for Mechwarrior 5. Obviously the launch on Xbox and the PlayStation, there could be some stuff they need to clean up, but I feel like there's going to be another DLC. And then some really important thing, limited residual effort for future maintenance. So this is what I'm going to take out of this. And of course, this is full speculation, is that they were already working on a DLC 3, unknown name, unknown scope of the project. If anything, I would assume it's gonna be even less of what we saw in Legend of the Kestrel Lancers, because I think that took quite a bit of effort and substance as far as development and devs. If anything, the next statement as well is as the team in Q4, well, guess what? It's already 2022, which means the team has ramped down completely. They're coming back from holiday. They're gonna fully utilize Piranha's talented team and various staff for different projects such as Lord of the Rings. Now, what we don't know is this the mysterious project that they were talking about? It all makes sense now that we can take a step back and say, well, was Piranha Games purchased in general to do this anyway? My initial thoughts are, I think so. I don't think EG7 purchased Piranha Games for the Mechwarrior license, because ultimately, they've only got a few years left, and I think off the top of my head, it's around 4 years left with the IP. Now, in previous discussions we've had with in statements from Russ and Chris Lowry and now Darren Katz, we're just sort of talking about, well, if they were going to do a clan invasion, it would probably be a Mech 6 because it'd be bigger. Now, this sort of goes hand in hand with some of the stuff that we've heard Darren mention on my streams, where he's popped on and he says, well, usually what happens is games, when they come out with DLCs, you have less and less impact. And what that basically meant was, from a researching and marketing and PR standpoint, is the popularity sort of drops off. You throw on top of that the lackluster sort of, in my opinion, DLCs in general. And you can see where Mech 5 is sort of in a weird spot. Like, would you do another DLC for Mech 5? What would you do different? And is the money there? And really now, anytime they do something for the PC, they also have to do for the Xbox and PlayStation. You don't just do an exclusive when you have all those. So I feel like that's sort of a big factor there. So going back to Mech 6, what's interesting with this is we haven't had confirmation if they're even going to think about it or so forth and so on. But here's my hesitation. I've had a lot of discussion with my community and my Twitch chat, which, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I stream Monday through Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a great way to interact with me. Also join on Discord. I'll have all this linked down below. And of course, if you're looking for this is NAD Global 7, the Q3 2021 Interim Report. I'll have a link down below if you want, but just Google that and it'll pop up, because again, they're a public company and this is released. And we'll go over the actual full report once we get that. And that'll give us a breakdown of full numbers for 2021. So we'll have a really good idea of how well or not well, Mech 5 did in general. Okay, so going back to my comments about Mech 6, I have hesitations. First off, I've been, without giving my opinion about it as far as the product or Piranha being involved or so forth like that, I want to point out that this is a different thing. You have to look, it's not Piranha Games anymore. It's a NAD Global 7 looking at, would a Mech 6 justify the means? So what we don't know is, we don't have numbers. We don't know how much profit Mechwarrior 5 made in general, and that's from base game all the way to the DLCs. We don't know how much expenses, like for instance, being at E3 and all that. We don't know a PR and marketing. Obviously, they had some streamers and some marketing there involved. We just don't know how much Mech 5 made in general and in whole. Now, on top of that, so if they're looking at it from that, I don't know if they're going to be doing a Mech 6 at all. And that does put the IP in a weird spot. If they are transitioning away, which is a potential reality that I think us as fans have to look at, and this is outside of just MWO, which is, if they do not renew the license, and let's just say they don't, that could be another sort of dark time for us as Mechwarrior fans moving forward. But ultimately, that's a discussion for information down the road, right? But of right now, as far as this report, it looks like they potentially might be doing a DLC. Again, we have no confirmation what or where, what that would be, going off of the last one they did. What's the scale of it, the scope of it? Is it one of those things that would make any money? How about the product? In general, I just wanted to report on this because there's been some tweets going out, and I didn't cover this when it was first posted. I was hoping there might be a little bit more information than we went on holiday. And but that's it. Mech 3 or Mech 5, not Mech 3, Mech 5 seems to be basically done. That's sort of what I look at. Potentially another DLC. Mech 6 is a big question mark. And I will say this, they have a list of games here on this, as far as, I'm going to scroll down here. This is the long-term stuff. There's nothing here with Mech 6 on this. And of course, this is, immediate future in Q4 and to long-term. So they do have games already announced here for the long-term, and Mech 6 is not on this. And Mech 6 would be on this. Or at least, some mention of it. And again, long term would be, year 2, 3 out. Well, you have to start developing Mech 6 now if you're going to be releasing it in the foreseeable future. So my thoughts on it is, we are not going to see a Mech 6 due to Mechwarrior 5 sales. It does put up to question whether or not MWO, is it making profit? How much profit? Do they see validity in there trying to renew the license? I would suspect if it's making them money, they would try to go for another extension. If it's not making enough money or enough money, because again, just because of how investors are, and it's a big company now, it may be the end of MWO. And like I said before, I think about 4 years. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means those discussions with Piranha Games. Obviously, I'll still be reaching out. I've already reached out to Darren to do a podcast at the end of this month. I'm waiting to hear back. He's already back working. And really sort of depends how much of this we've already heard. And this sort of goes in line with what Darren was saying, which is they were pulling assets to MWO. And what Darren and Matt didn't know was that how much of those in this year, 2022, would be dedicated towards MWO. And that's sort of the question. Obviously, I'll cover more as we move in. It's all speculation from here on out. I think we'll know a little bit more at the end of January and, of course, February, if and when they have a sit down and chat about a roadmap. But I think this is a nail in the coffin for Mech 5. Again, speculation. I believe they'll do a DLC 3. I think they were already working on one, unless otherwise, it was basically told to just wrap it up and get to future maintenance and stuff like that. So overall, this is sort of a bummer. I'll go ahead and give my opinions about this now. I'm not surprised. I mentioned that earlier. As far as the performance of Mech 5, what it could have been, what I think I wanted to see in a game, and I know everybody's got opinions of what they wanted to see. But I think the overall quality and the product that we got versus what you're seeing out there in other competing markets is the result. They can say it's a low impact, a niche community, and I think that's true. But I will also say this: if you make a good game, people will find it. People talk about it. People will rave about it. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You do this with your friends and stuff like, dude, have you checked this out? Man, I'm having a blast, or they're watching you or so forth. So as far as my opinion, as far as Mech 5 is concerned, I'm not surprised it's in the state it is. Unfortunately, I have no interest in even playing Mech 5. If they do another DLC, I will check it out because it's part of the, for you guys, the community, and I hope it would be good. But based off my last experiences where with the Kestrel Lancers, I was very, very disappointed in that. I was disappointed in pretty much the entire game in general. There are some sweet spots, but again, I have a full review. Make sure to check that out if you're interested in buying it. Know what you're going into and enjoy that gameplay loop. But if you don't enjoy the gameplay loop as far as picking missions and dropping pretty much over and over, rinse, repeat, you're not going to enjoy these titles. But that being said, it's a weird time for us in the Mechwarrior IP. I know a lot of questions are being asked, like who would step up to the plate? And the answer is, we don't know. Would it be Microsoft? Well, Microsoft is looking at big stuff like Halo. Now, do I think Microsoft or another studio could do it justice and bring, let's just say, Mechwarrior Battletech to the forefront? Yeah, they could. I mean, I think HBS did fantastic. I think Mechwarrior Online did a great job. It just teetered off there, and they went to other stuff like Mech 5 and the net result. And again, sort of hindsight's 2020. If all those resources would have been dumped into MWO and, things done right from the start, we'd have a different product. But I don't know who or anyone would take over or jump in. So it's sort of a weird spot. And I think all of us, including myself, feel this weird sort of feeling again, where is like, will this be another year of, segment of 10 years of doom and gloom and not anything happening? But I will report on this if I hear any information, if I talk to Darren, if I talk to Matt at PGI, if there's any tweets from PGI or anything like that about Mech 5, potential DLCs or lack thereof or whatever. I'll try to get confirmation on that. I'll report on anything like this in the future. But at the end of the day, this is not good news for Mechwarrior. But I don't know if it spells end. At least for the foreseeable future. So I will report back when I know more. I hope you guys enjoying this video. I'm sorry it's sort of negative as far as reporting on it. If you did find it useful, click the like button. Let me know what you guys feel like down below. Are you one of those that's like, hey, it's better than nothing? Or Are you ready for the IP to be passed on to the next developer? And that also being said, which developer would be interested in something like this? Not something what developer would be awesome using it, but what developer would be interested in grabbing the torch and moving forward. I don't have an answer, but maybe you do. So let me know. And again, like I said, don't forget to click on that like button, leave a comment down below, join us on Discord. And of course, if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, head over to the Patreon page and support via Patreon. It's a great platform for content creators like myself. If you have the ability, again, this is my full-time gig, so you guys make this possible. Thank you again for watching. See you on the next video. Until next time, peace.